Yeah, we live by the way, but Joe, yeah, we got to see what's up with that music.
Yeah, man, we need to holla Jabal.
Yeah,
Jabal,
tell you I looking for he brother, and I pissed off. No man. Yeah, man. But we live, Tiga. We live episode 42, man. 42. We got big Jahsan Page, man. From Rock City.
that's big time, man. Can't wait to hear this episode. It is episode 42, right after the great People's Choice, People Voice.
Lot
We
of
say
mercy.
it's on like popcorn today. It's
I like
on.
popcorn, man. Yeah, man. So episode 42, Jackie Robinson, big up to Jackie Robinson. Big up to all the viewers tuning in right now. Dwayne, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne got Rihanna and somebody else fighting over here on Facebook. So Dwayne, you need to go to Dwayne. Listen, you need to go to Dwayne page, brother. Sandy, big up to you, big up.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so you need to check out Dwayne Facebook page.
It's crazy. Great. I got holla you.
Yeah, man. But otherwise, how everything is, man.
Everything is blessed, man. The episode was awesome. Man, I had a good time. But everything was super blessed. Still trying to get my back strong 100%, so you still will see me leaning left and right. You know what I'm saying? But again there. Thank God.
Yeah, man. That's good to hear, man. Once you getting better, man. Big up to all the viewers once again. Good night. Big up to all the viewers. Baptiste, big up. So anything going on the island, man? What's everything good down there?
I mean, we're getting close to election time, so things start ramping up, and hopefully everybody will go out there and exercise their right to vote. I already voted, early voting, so it's on. I even put up my top 5 jingle of the year, so I hope you went and check it out. You know what I'm saying? And
I got to check it out.
Just having some fun with it, but everybody just needs to be safe and definitely exercise the right to vote, and let's have a good election.
Yeah, man, that's good to hear. Christopher Henry, big up, man, big up. Christopher Henry podcast is gonna be at 9:00. 9:00 on Wednesdays. He's always live 9:00 on Wednesdays. So you guys, if you guys not tuning in with us, you can always go and support him and tune in with him as well. Chris, you need to send me the name of your podcast. I haven't had a chance to really check it out yet. I'd be so busy. So if you got a chance, you could send me a message, tell me the name so I could plug it in and create a banner so I could promote it as well on our podcast. Yeah, man. So big up to everybody. Alrika, big up. So how was you did your episode, Tegan? Amazing episode. Man, it's like, after you did the episode, I was thinking back on the episode, and it was like so much information. It was like so much knowledge you was dropping. It was kind of like, it was like a class, man. It was amazing, and
long as hell.
No, yeah, it was long. And think about it.
It didn't feel like
it. Yeah. And I didn't really talk much either, so.
We had so much more material we could have even put in, but
yeah.
Hey, that's just sort of the level of how all of we get along in terms of yourself, Pang, and our coach Haywood. And you could just feel the vibes, man. It was just love, man. And it was just everybody appreciating everybody game as we go through the history. And like we say, each one teach one, and every one of us help each other to get where we need to be. So I definitely enjoyed the episode. I wake up thinking about it like, man, that was cool.
It was good, man. It was good, man. It really listening to you talk about, the coaching, your viewpoint from coaching and stuff like that. It was like amazing, it was like amazing, the information, the way how you was, setting examples and stuff like that. Man, I haven't get a chance to really see you coach, but man, your information is amazing, man. So, it's amazing to see, it's amazing to hear and see, man.
It's all about knowledge, man. And in all our sports, it don't matter what level or whatever sport you're playing. The more knowledge you get, the more you can put into your game, the better player you will be. And the fact is, we have raw talent in the Virgin Islands. Everybody knows that. But at the end of the day, once you move up in level, the talent is going to meet up with you and even surpass you. What's going to take it to the next level is going to be the brain. So we have to develop that mental game as well. And as long as we can merge the two,
Yeah,
we could be producing waves of athlete in every sport.
that's true. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right, man. You're right. So, and the places you've been, man, that's amazing, man. Because I was thinking about, I was like, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was gonna
No,
say I've been to a lot many more places than that, but go ahead.
see, because I was like, man, it was amazing. Because I was thinking about when we was in high school, and then and then fast forward to modern day time, right now, present day, and just you hearing your stories and the places you've been, and like you say, you have more places that you've been. I was like, man, that's amazing to see where you came from and the different cultures you experience and stuff like that. Because I love history and I love listening to people tell the story and I love learning about other cultures. So I was just fascinated by some of the countries that you've been to, man. So it's amazing.
Man, and the beauty about it, Mumba, every country I've been to embraced me. And that was the beauty about it. Not just the basketball team, but the people itself. Because a lot of the time we're in America, we don't really get like that world view in terms of there are a lot more people in the world than in the United States. We're so caught up in us. So most of the time it's all about us. But if you go outside and just look from within, you will realize like, man, there's a lot of beautiful places around this world. So it's crazy, but I love the experience and never give it up to the world.
That's true, man. That's true. Good night, Renis. Renis, good night, good night, good night. Good night to everybody once again. Good night. So well, maybe you're gonna be running for senator in the future anytime soon, or maybe the governor, you never know.
If you do my jingle like a run.
All right. That's it. We're gonna be doing the jingle. I'm gonna be doing the jingle. So, but we're gonna touch on your episode again, because I know Pan would like to, touch on it as well eventually. So we will touch on your episode again. So
For sure.
Yeah, man. But we here, man. Episode 42. Rest in peace to Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson number. Jahsan Page, Outer Rock City. Our next guest. Legendary VI baseball player. I'll start it off, Tegan. I met Jahsan in college. He was my college roommate for 2 years. My college teammate. We played against each other. Growing up, we didn't really know each other like that. He used to say to myself from St. Croix, but I got to know him real well, man. Great human being, somebody that I admire, somebody I look up to. And I can't really wait. To hear his story. His family is very real nice people. His dad is real cool. His mom is cool. His sister is cool, man. So, I just can't wait to really hear his story, man. It's gonna be very, very interesting and fun.
Well, I definitely need to hear his story because you and him was roommates, so I know he has some good stories there. I don't really know much about him, honestly, but this is why we do this show and this is why we have this platform, so we can know a lot more Virgin Islands out there doing great things. So, man, can't wait to see Jahsan and just get involved in his story and just piggyback with questions like we always do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you want to do a shout out before I bring him in. You forgot to do that. You're kind of slacking, or you're holding off on the shout outs.
No. I was slacking, Tegan. I was so caught up into your episode, I forgot to do the shout outs. That's what happened. I'm gonna be honest. Just how your mic is muted, by the way, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'll do the shout outs real quick, Tegan, and then you can introduce the song. We could do it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Good night, Larina. Good night. So shout outs to the viewers, we shouting out all the VI people, them doing their things, so big up to everybody. If you guys got a chance to support them. We got a legends340.com. We also got Savory Eats LLC based in Orlando by Sheena Fontaine. She has a food sale coming up this Saturday. This Saturday is a food sale. Last episode I screwed up the date, so I was tripping. I don't know what it was, but this Saturday she has some good food. She got some good lists going up. So you guys check it out. Good menu. We got the Good Life Apparel. Also follow on Instagram at Melting Pot Cooking Class and also meltingpotcookingclass.com. We also got Siboney Caribbean Restaurant. We got Apollo Legion. Also follow on Instagram Island Destiny 340 Serenity Braids by Nikki. Also, we got Rico Canario, one of our previous guests. Also, check out his website, www.lulu.com/spotlight/R Canario. A lot of great history in sports and just history in the Virgin Islands. We also got Right Way Service Station located in Princess next to Avis. We got Paris Enterprise. Also follow on Facebook at Livewire Sports. Livewire Sports, they always live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Last episode yesterday, they had Kalex Krabby. Very great episode, very informative. If you guys got a chance, you guys go check that out, man. They're doing great things for the youths and stuff. So make sure you guys go and support Livewire Sports live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Big up to the whole team over there, Lorena, Shaq, everybody. Also, we got Midnight Entertainment. Follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at The Real Midnight. Also, follow on Facebook at Real Midnight ENT. Also, big up to Chico, Next Level Up Printing. We got OliviaDesir.com. We got Bubbles Promotion. Also, follow on Facebook at Brino's Kitchen. Also, big up to Mona Barnes. Follow on Facebook at City of Refuge Worship Center. Live streaming every Sunday at 10 a.m. Also, big up to Carlos Hawkins with his AIM Credit Repair LLC. Big up to him. Also, big up to Dwayne with his clothing, Calypso Clothing LLC. So you guys got a chance to support Dwayne. He's always viewing. He's always supporting everybody doing the thing. So make sure you guys support him as too. He's always supporting Livewire. He always definitely supporting, the Elite Podcast as well. So make sure you guys support his clothing line. Check it out. Go to his Facebook.
That's Dwayne?
Yeah.
Definitely got to check you out. Dwayne into sending stuff.
Yeah, he got some good stuff, man. He got some good stuff. So, yeah, man. Richie, big up, Richie. Good night, Richie. Good night, Carrion. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Appreciate you guys tuning in the support of Jahsan Page. Appreciate you guys supporting him. So good night to everybody. Doing you already know. All right, T, are you the man of the hour?
Well, once again, we thank you guys for joining us. Welcome. And without further ado, the man himself, Jahsan Page. Welcome to the Elite Podcast. We're very happy to have you, and it's time to hear your story.
All right. Yes, I am happy to be here. I'm honored, especially with all the different guests I had before me, because they were all on another level than me. So I am just happy to be considered in the conversation. But it's interesting, Mumba, that you mentioned Jackie Robinson. My mother's side of the family from the States is Robinsons. And I didn't even realize that this was episode 42. So that's something that was pretty interesting.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
That is amazing. So where you at right now before we get everything started? What part of the States you at?
I live in Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City.
How is Utah?
It's all right. It ain't a bad place to live. Like, it's a good place to raise a family, but the cold weather is not really the best. Like right now, like it's like 20 degrees outside. I stay inside my house as much as possible. I've been here for almost 10 years now, but I really am not a fan of the cold weather. But my family love it here, so I'm gonna do whatever is best for my family.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And everybody is safe in terms of the COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah, everybody's safe. The kids, they don't go to school, every day of the week. They mostly at home. I working at home, my wife at home. So, we don't really be outside too much besides to get outside and do a little couple activities here and there. But everybody's safe out there.
Definitely. That's a blessing. Always good to hear. That's family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tonight is your night, man. And I want to start off because Mumba know you better than me. Okay. How it all started. You give us like a little summary and we piggyback from there.
Yeah, so unlike many of the people that have been on this show before, I actually wasn't born back home in the Virgin Islands. I was born in the States. My parents was in the Navy. That's where they meet, and they were stationed out in Massachusetts, and that's where I was born. And I lived there till like 4 years old. So I didn't really get a chance to really get entrenched in the VI culture until about between 4 to 6, because I used to move back and forth a lot. But at 6 years old is when I moved back home permanently and was raised up in Old Tutu. And that's really where a lot of the sports that was entrenched in me, like that's why I used to play a lot of sports. We had a basketball court down there and a baseball field where the kids just used to go every day and play sports. So that's how I got really into sports. So.
Nice, man. Nice. So what age you started playing bass? You was gonna ask something, Tegan?
No, I was gonna ask. So, what's the first sport you played? Because you said sports, so that means he was a athlete.
Yeah, I was a three-sport athlete. I played volleyball, basketball, and baseball. But basketball was my first sport because my father was a basketball coach in Man League back in the day. He used to coach a team called the Lakers and some other team. I can't remember the name of the team. But so I used to just be around basketball all the time. So that's why I started out. But when I went to school one day, and I think it was third grade, being a follower, a lot of the kids were talking about, oh, it's baseball tryouts. And I had never played baseball before in my life, but all the kids was going to go do baseball tryouts. I was like, well, I'm going to go do it too, just try and be a follower. And that's how I ended up being in baseball. I ended up getting on a team called the Cardinals. But because I was 8 years old at the time, I couldn't play. I had to just practice with them the whole year because Little League at the time, I don't know what it is now, by the time it was 9 years old to 12 years old. So they wouldn't let me play. So I just used to practice with them the entire year until the next year. And I went and had to go to tryouts again. And they used to do a draft back in the day where everybody would show up. I don't know if they did that in St. Croix, but like everybody would show up that wanted to play. And all the coaches would pick from the players to build their team. And then I ended up not being on the Cardinals. I went to the Expos, which was a pretty decent team at the time. But that's how I ended up in baseball, by being a follower, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what was your first position and how was that experience?
The first position was the bench. And so I was on the bench for a long time because I didn't really understand the game. I was just out there. And but the saving grace for me was that I had a strong arm. Like I always had a strong arm. I wasn't really good at much else at that age besides having a strong arm. So they put me to pitch. And so I've been pitching since I was 10 years old. I've been pitching since then. And I used to play a little outfield on first base and stuff, but I have never been a very good hitter. So pitching was what I kind of stuck with throughout my baseball career.
They had a viewer question real quick. What year was this?
What year was what? When I started playing baseball?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, 1980 something. I don't remember the years. I am not a mathematician, and I ain't about to try to figure it out right now. But it was in the
80s.
Yeah. So who was your coach at those times? Who was coaching in those times? Because we always like to give shout out to the coaches. Because
I can't really remember. Unfortunately, and I apologize, but I cannot remember the name of my coach from the Expos because I had only played for him for 2 years, 9 and 10. And then when I was 10 years old, like I was on the Expos and we didn't really, we hardly ever used to win any games. I think we won like one game. And even though I wasn't very good at the time, nobody liked losing. Yes, so sir. I was like, how can I get on another team? And they told me I needed to ask for a trade. So I went to the team that I wanted to be on and I asked the coach, I was like, look, I ain't learning. I feel like I'm not getting any better. I want to be on your team. And he ended up accepting me on the team. And that was the Marlins. And that was my coach, Bello. A lot of people in the Virgin Islands have been coached by Bello. He was like one of the best coaches back home in St. Thomas. And he coached me from 11 years old all the way through high school.
Oh, wow.
So he was one of like the most influential coaches in my life back home.
That's big time. I wouldn't remember the first coach either if you keep benching me. So I ain't mad at you.
Hey, you know what's crazy? They had like a draft. You could have gone and asked for it. You could have requested a trade. Like I was doing big things from young.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I love that idea. That was a great idea.
Yeah, it's all about networking.
Yeah, man. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So did you come? You and Mumbai is pretty much in the same age group. Who is older? Who's younger?
I think Mumbai is older than me.
Yeah, I'm 39. I turned 40 in December.
Yeah, I turned 39.
I want you to know what Mumbai, you still look young. You still look young, Mumbai. That's good. Yeah, I only asked the question because you said they didn't accept players in the league from you have to be 9 to 12. So when you were coming up, did they expand the baseball? Because we had a couple guests that came in. They said it was only Little League. Did they have different stages for you? It was Little League and then.
So it was Little League and then there was Senior League, and Senior League was 13 to 15 when I first got there. But my last year they expanded to so after my what was supposed to be my last year, which was 15 years old, they extended to 16. And then from there it was like you had to go play man league or you're just done playing baseball. It wasn't nothing else after that, or high school. But high school was kind of a joke back then because we only played 9 games a year. So you really couldn't. I mean, you can't do nothing with 9 games. That ain't helping you at all. So you had to go and play man league if you wanted to continue to play baseball. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So who are some of the early challenges you had in terms of crafting your game, in terms of pitching? Who did you fear? Who was a tough guy you had to get out? Did you pitch against Mumba?
No, I never pitched against Mumba. I mean, besides in like practice when we were like, he'd be on one side and I'd be on the other side in college, but we never faced each other like back home. Not that I remember. But I would say some of the biggest challenges for me was the West, because so in St. Thomas they have the East Little League and the West Little League. At that time, the West was the better league. Unfortunately, they were the better league. So we used to get beat up on every time we went against them for All-Star. And actually, the first person to hit a home run off of me, I never give up a home run until I was 12 years old. It was Calix Crab in the All-Star game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then it was a series.
Live wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he always, like, from the time we was that age, this dude, you already know, like, he was going to be in the major leagues. Everybody else was like a question mark, but he was a for sure thing. But who?
No, I was gonna ask who's some of the players then that stood out during Little League time. Some notable players that you could remember.
Him, Richie Clendenin. No, I just talking about people from the West that I face a lot. Cadiz Shepard, Levron. I can't remember if he was in the East or the West. He might have been in the West. Levron was one that I faced a lot, especially in high school. In Little League, I don't really remember facing him like that. Senior league and high school. Those are some of the players that I faced a lot, and that they were trouble for me. But the reason it was trouble for me because all I really had back then was a fastball. So that's all I could depend on. And people, as you know, Mumba, if all you're trying is a fastball, people won't eat that up, unless you're trying really hard. So that was something I had to overcome eventually as I got older. But in Little League, those were some of the ones that I had trouble with back then.
Okay. So what high school you went to?
I went to Charlotte O'Malley High School. That's why I played all 3 sports, was volleyball, baseball, and basketball. I made the baseball team all 4 years, but I got kicked off of the team my freshman year. And that was because I thought I was better than I was. So basically, the first game we play against Eudorican or some other school. I don't remember what school we played. And the coach, in my mind, the coach played a bunch of people that was not good, right? Like, and I didn't play at all. But he was basically trying to play the people that he wanted to cut, like some of the people he wanted to cut. He was just giving them a chance to play, and then he was going to get rid of some of them. But I was like, I better than these dudes. Why am I not playing? So after the game, when we lose, we were walking down the line to shake the other team hand, and they were like, good game. And I say something like, it wasn't a good game for me or something like that because I didn't play. The coach heard me say that, so he told me like, I done. He told me he kicked me off the team, and I was like, I don't care. Back then, if you get embarrassed by the coach, you gotta try like show up the coach. And I was like, I don't care. Take this shot. It was a t-shirt. That was our jersey. I'm like, I don't care. I throw it, and I went on bad and all kind of thing. Right. The next day, my coach Bello was the coach. He was the coach for Eudorican at the time, but he was my coach outside of high school. Him and my father tell me I have to like go apologize to the coach. So I went and apologized and eat my words, and the coach accept the apology, but he told me like, look, you can't play this year. So I had to sit out the entire year, but he let me come back for 10 through 12. So I learned a lesson from that. Like you have to be humble. No matter how good you think you is, sometimes you just gotta chill out and just let things play out the way they're gonna play out. So
do you think that's a message every youngster coming up in our sports need to learn in the Virgin Islands, because I coach also, and we do have that type of me and K attitude once we do something wrong. And the maturity factor when it comes back 360, because it will come back wrong. You think that's a great lesson everybody should learn? Because
I think it's a great lesson for not only sports but in life in general. You got to be humble. I mean, and even in the workforce, like even if you feel like you is the best person for the job, maybe there's something else that you ain't seeing that somebody else that's above you is seeing that maybe you need to improve on, and you need to just kind of just sit back and learn your lessons and try to improve from that. So like whether it's sports, the workforce, family, wherever it is, you need to be humble. We can't go around acting like we're the biggest and baddest person and we know better than everybody, because we always learning no matter how old we get. So that's my kind of mindset with the way I approach life.
But let me ask you this question. I'm hoping you can chime in as well. Where do you think we get that? Because I'm included as well. Where do you think we get that in the Virgin Islands? Because I coach kids in Puerto Rico. I coach in the States. But for some reason, the Virgin Islands kids are some of the most difficult ones to coach, man. Not that they ain't bad kids in Puerto Rico and the States and stuff like that, but they are a little bit more attentive, a little bit more disciplined. They want to be a little bit more of a sponge to learn, to be willing to learn. And when you come home and you coach, it's like the mentality is they don't want to look bad in front of their friends because they can't do something, so they're ready to lash out. Where you think that is coming from?
It's a great question, brother. I'll go. You want me to go? Just saying, we'll go first?
No, go ahead.
I'm be honest with you, Tegan. That's something I ask myself all the time, and I just feel like it comes from. I want to say part of it might comes from the household. Part of it might come from your friends. It gotta be, man. It got to be. It's just it's the environment. It's the environment that kind of makes you who you are. At that age, and I feel like it could be the household. It could be your friends. People you hanging around school with. Something that you just pick that up and you just run with it. And I think it's like an ego too at the same time. You have that type of ego, because I'm kind of like thinking about myself when I was at that age, and how I would react, and I would react the same way like how he reacted, but I would only do it with certain individuals, certain coaches, like I wouldn't do it with Haywood or like Genix, but maybe somebody else who I didn't respect, I probably would have do that too. So I feel like, and I feel like my environment that I was around made me how I reacted that way. That's what I think.
I think, Mumba, that's a valid observation, because at that time I didn't really respect that coach, because he wasn't even really like a baseball coach. Like he was just somebody like a teacher that they just put to coach us. So it was kind of hard to respect somebody that I felt like didn't have no knowledge of the game. Obviously, eventually I went on to gain some respect for him. But in regards to your question, I think it is like partly the family, the friends. The friends is a big part, because I don't know about how I was in St. Croix, but like if you get embarrassed, your friends will like never let you forget it. They will just keep you alive for like a long time. Like, look, I am 37 years old right now, right? There's things that happened when I was 11, 12 years old that some of these dudes still ain't never forget. So that's part of it.
We do have a forgiving culture, Mr. These men will hammer you.
That's true. That's true.
But Jahsan, you said something very, 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 very powerful. But I want to add something else that I noticed is the fact that a lot of our players then play these multi-sports, just like yourself, who played 3 sports, Mumba, myself, and you are so talented in maybe 2 or 3. And the fact that we don't have the population to really weed you out. These coaches sometimes, and I gotta say, put myself in the same boat, we make the players then believe that they're better than they actually are. And that's something we'll have to do. Nothing wrong with a kid being talented and good, but if we don't teach him that discipline from early, respecting the game, respecting your teammates, respecting the coaches, the referees, the other team, the fans, and you let him get away with any crazy things, it's going to be hard to change once we grow up. And once you're a superstar player in the VI, we get away with a lot. Trust me. We do.
That's true. You're right about that.
So
That's true.
that's something we definitely gotta look at and change, because in Puerto Rico you have millions of people trying out for that spot. You could be good as you want. You got another man waiting outside ready to take that spot. So you better be humble and ready to keep improving.
Yeah.
But in the VI we kind of limited, but hopefully we can get to that. But what you both say is very, very powerful.
Yeah, that was a great question, man. Honestly, that was a very good question. That's the coach of you, man. That's crazy. That's the coach of you right there, brother.
No, because sometimes
that.
a lot of people see like the failures and think that's the end of the world. But sometimes we learn more from falling than we do in success.
Yeah.
So when you said that he was kicked off the team, that was actually a great humbling and learning experience for you. And I was so happy that you said your father and your coach told you to go back and apologize. That is big in them also. And we need a lot more of that in sports in the Virgin Islands. And not so much the win. So
yeah, that's true, 100%.
Big up to your partners.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, but continue. I'm still. I have a lot of questions, but I want Mama jump into so I don't dominate.
No, it's okay, T. I let you. Baseball is your sport, so I kind of like. I like hearing you ask the question and stuff like, because you ask some really good questions. So. It's coming from a person who don't really know a lot. Well, I won't say know a lot, but not familiar with baseball. So the questions you're asking is real good questions, and some of the questions I would probably never think of, but it's excellent questions, So
I got you.
That's fine. That's fine.
So Jahsan, I got this one. How was your recruiting process in terms of you're in Charlotte, Amali, you play Manly? How were you scouted? How did people see you from the States? How did that fall?
It didn't fall out good at all. Like nobody was seeing us, back then. Like most of the people that you had on your show before that went on to like get drafted or like do big things in college, the one thing that they had different than I did is that they left the island early to go play in the States. That's something that I didn't really have the opportunity to do, because if I would have done that, I probably would have failed out of school. Like if my parents wasn't there, I didn't do good. So back when I was in high school, we never really used to travel to the States to go play. So we didn't have no exposure, So that's really what I didn't have. Like when I get to my senior year, I didn't even know I was going to college. Like even after I graduate high school, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go college. I wanted to play baseball when I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know where I was going because no one was recruiting me or anybody else in my class in terms of Eudorican or Charlotte. Wow. So I mentioned this before, and you wasn't here, but like I ended up meeting Langalo and some of the other girls on I think it was Central. I don't remember what school I went to, Central basketball team or whatever. And they had a tournament or something in St. Thomas. And their coach or someone that was affiliated with the school ended up hearing that I didn't have nowhere to go to school, but he had seen me play in St. Croix before. And he ended up putting in a call to Houston Tillerton College, which was a small HBCU in Austin, Texas, and to let them know that he had a guy that was interested in playing ball, and on that dude's word, they give me a scholarship to the school. Wow. And that's how I ended up going to college at Houston Tillerton. So,
who was that coach? That was Bao?
I don't remember the dude. I don't remember his name.
It might be Bao or Tyler, maybe even Champ.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, one of them. Man, that's amazing. That's crazy.
One thing that I left out that should be noted, that where he saw me play was in St. Croix against. They put Complex and Central together for like kind of like an all-star kind of team to face us, and I ended up playing against them, and I think I had like 17 or 18 strikeouts against them, and like a one-hit, and we ended up beating them. I don't remember what the score was, but I remember after that game, they were like, our man was like embarrassed because I basically struck out the entire team multiple times, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring Mumba next time," and I was like, "Mumba," because at the time I didn't know. At the time, I had only known Mumba as baseball. I mean, a volleyball player and a basketball player, because we had faced each other multiple times in volleyball. Or so Langalo say or ball.
Yeah, ball. Man, that's amazing. Wow.
So. Yeah, and I don't remember if you had come the next day to play us or not, but I was like, can I just do to play baseball too? Because at the time, I only know him for basketball and volleyball. And I was like, everywhere I go, I running into this dude. And then next thing you know, they're talking about him playing baseball.
That's crazy.
That's funny. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Hey, but big up to Bao, man. It was Bao that did that for you, man. That's
and
wow.
I really appreciate that because that really set me down the path to gain to where I end up at Bethune Cookman with you. So, and plus I had a lot of other opportunities as a result of that as well. So
that's big time, man. That's blessed. You know what I'm saying? Everything happened for a reason. So
you know what's T, real quick, T. You know what's funny? Because remember, Bao was saying like, remember when we did Bao episode, he was talking about how competition is good, but he just wanted to see everybody succeed and and reach their potential, and making it and stuff. And that was like a perfect example,
because he didn't even know me. I never met this man before. I never heard of him, and he just heard about that. He put in this call for me, and that's how I ended up getting to college. Because I didn't know where I was going.
That's big time, man. That's how it's supposed to be, man. That's how all of us supposed to be looking out for each other. We like to win. I know the Virgin Islands love to win, but at the end of the day, it's not the final score that makes us win. It's the representation of the Virgin Islands out there. So the more Virgin Island athletes we can put out there, that's going to make us winners, not the final score. Nobody remember the final score.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we're going to remember your career as you represent us at the next level. And that should be the goal.
Yeah, that's true.
So you touched down in was it Texas?
Yeah, Houston Tillerton.
How was that like? Give the audience a view.
Well,
First day at campus, what a campus is like now. You're there with the Texas Longhorns and you eating a lot of beef.
That school, right, was in the hood. I mean, I never really been to I've been to the hood in the States and in St. Louis, but like, because that's where my family from, my mother side from, and I had family there, so I going somewhere for the first time in the hood where I ain't got no family. The only people I know is 3 girls from St. Croix, so what they gonna do if I get into anything? It was Langalo, Checker, and Pumpkin. It was all of us up there, and we in Texas around all these hood people. The first night I stayed in the dorm, right? My father dropped me out. All I hearing is ambulance going left and right. And I thinking to myself, what these people get me into, man? Like,
I wish Pam been honest. Your school kind of mirror his school too.
Look, this school wasn't no joke, man. Like, I remember, so that's the first night. And then like, all of us went to some party at University of Texas. This is like my first or second night at the school, right? Everybody on our campus everybody that was from our campus, Houston Tillerton, went to like a hip hop night at the University of Texas. And then all of a sudden a big fight break out, chairs getting thrown everywhere, people getting maced, and this is like my first week in the school. And
that's crazy.
That was the hood, Langalo. I see she talk about that one in the hood. That was the hood.
First day, first week, man getting knockout.
Knockout, people getting knocked, bloody up. And I was like, this is what I come to school for.
Edward Waters, you was in Jacksonville? You sure?
Nah, man, this was Austin, Texas. And that man was not playing. Like my roommate, I still cool with he to this day, right? This man this man was on probation for beating up a police officer. Like these are the kind of people I was around on a regular basis. But anyways, nevertheless, I ended up playing baseball there. And I had another dude from St. Croix on the team with me. I think he said he used to call him Gato or something like that. But I think it's Andres Poche. He was from St. Croix. He was a little older than me. He was about 3 or 4 years older than me. And he was a senior in the school when I went there. And he kind of used to look out for me when I was on that team. But again, that team took me back to when I was like on the Expos where we never used to win no games. We used to come back every day. And people would be like, did y'all win? Nope. Next game. Did y'all win? Nope. Eventually when we start coming back to school, they'll be like, did y'all lose? Yep. Like we never used to win. So I had enough of it. And I ended up transferring to a junior college because I just couldn't I don't like losing, so I just couldn't take it anymore. And again, I ended up using networking to get me to that junior college because that junior college didn't know nothing about me. And the way I end up getting there is because I played summer league baseball. Like I remember you remember playing college summer league baseball.
Yeah.
So my father again, who was like really big in my career, he meets somebody where he was working at the hotel who had a contact at this collegiate baseball summer league, which is called I think it's the Cal Ripken Senior League. And yeah, so he ended up telling the dude that I could play, and they end up putting me on a team again, sight unseen. They ain't see me play. They just going off of this man saying that this kid could do this and this kid could do that. So I end up going up there to this team. I'm playing with all kind of people from like University of Miami, Kentucky, University of Florida, and here I am from this small HBCU, Houston Tillotson, that nobody ever heard of. And I end up going up there and showing them a little bit of what I have. And one of the coaches tell me about this junior college in New Mexico called New Mexico Junior College. At the time, this was like one of the best junior colleges in the nation. So he put in a call again to the coach, sight unseen, telling him about me. And the coach told me I could come on out and try out for the team. This time they didn't give me a scholarship. They told me I could come on and try out and walk on to the team. So I leave Houston Tillotson, and I was like, I'm gonna go out here and try and do this thing at New Mexico, because I had confidence in my ability that they was gonna give me a scholarship. So I didn't care. I just leave there and went to New Mexico. And
wow.
Yeah, so that's how I end up at that particular school. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That takes a lot of faith in yourself. So that's big time. Could you talk about one of your best pitching performances? Because obviously baseball is a sport where one person can dominate the game. Let me piggyback a little bit at your first school in Texas. When you pitch, how was your performances in terms of pitching? How was the defense behind you? How was your catcher? Because obviously a lot of things had to go wrong for you not to dominate teams.
Yeah, our team as a whole, we had like a couple good players, but we just were not a good team together. As we were all cool, but we did not work together well on the field. Like to me, it was like bad news bears. That's how, maybe it wasn't as bad as that, but as I remember it, it was like bad news bears. And it wasn't that I was helping the situation, because at the time, my arm again was very strong. I threw at the time, I think I threw like 92 miles per hour, but I didn't have any control. And that's something like if you ask anybody from St. Thomas that know about me playing baseball, that's the one thing that they would say. Like they used to call me like Wild Bill, because I had no control. And it was the same thing when I went to college, but I didn't have, and that was because I didn't really have like a pitching coach. That's one thing that the kids nowadays have. The kids nowadays, like in the States, they all have pitching coaches. That's something that I needed. And even when I went to college, I didn't have that. My coach was not a pitching coach. We didn't have like anybody dedicated to really teach me the game. Like this man had me doing all kind of silly stuff that just was not working. And so I go ahead.
No, well, that's what I was looking for to get out to you for my next question, because obviously you left pretty much a terrible situation, and now you're playing with guys from UM and stuff like that. So now you saw their work ethic from UT compared to them. How was it different when you got to be around better players? What was the differences? Was it the difference was coaching and how they move? Like, what was a major difference for you?
Everything was different. Like, I mean, their work ethic was on a whole nother level. Like for us, I mean, this might sound crazy, right? But like at Houston Tillotson, like we didn't have like no team workouts. It was like practice, and that was it. Like, so you didn't even go to the gym to lift weights, to get out, to do anything. Like it was not structured. So when I got to this summer collegiate baseball team, I started learning some of the things that they were doing at their respective schools. We would go and walk out together at the gym. They would teach me things that I didn't know, start to teach me pitches that I didn't even know, because nobody was really teaching me any pitches when I went to Houston Tillotson. It was just like, you come here and you throw it wherever you know. And for me, that was a fastball and a curveball. That was it. So I learned a lot from those guys. And not only that, being around people that was way better than me made me step up my game. You know, it made me realize that, okay, I got to do a little bit more so that I could like feel like I belong on this team.
Man.
Yeah. What state was that when you played summer?
That was in Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, for the
So here's my question now.
training.
This is the big question because I'm setting you up, and I'm doing it for all the sports them because you just answer it perfect. So you went from UT, the man ain't care, they're doing their thing, and now you go to a place where now outside of baseball now becomes important. The lifting, learning different pitches, people talking to you, pitching coaches. Bring it home now to the Virgin Islands, where you see all the different stages. What are we missing in the Virgin Islands so we can get to that UT level? You know what I'm saying? Because we have it in basketball as well.
Yeah.
You go and watch the kids them play, the talented kids just run out there and do what they want to do, they win, and everybody think they're great. But they don't understand when you leave that level right there and you go to a level where a man is walking out, eating right, getting a shooting coach, getting a pitching coach, taking care of his body, lifting, going to sleep early, not drinking soda, not eating McDonald's. You can be as talented as you want to the Virgin Islands. This man who do all of this dedication is going to crush you. You have no shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's you hit all the points on the head that of things that people back home need to do. So I don't live back home. I don't know a lot of what's going on right now with baseball or any other sports, but I can talk to what I remember from when I was growing up. Right, we didn't even have access to a gym to go work out and lift weights, and it showed when I went to college. Like these dudes might have been my height, but they were so much more stronger than I was because they have already been lifting weights and doing all kind of workouts before they get to college. So when I get there, I am like really skinny, don't really know how to lift no weights. I had to ask people to show me how to lift weights because I never lift weights in my life. We had a weight room in Charlotte, Mali, but it was so stupid that only the football team had access to it. Like that don't make no sense. I hope it's different now. But those kinds of things
hold too bad, my boy, because me and Mama didn't live either. We went straight skinny to college.
Well, I know Mama didn't live no ways. I remember what he looked like back then.
That's facts, brother. And I still look the same, brother. Look, I no muscle, nothing.
Mama definitely look the same. Mama still look like in high school.
Yeah. So but as far as what I think could help, like I really think that having individualized coaching is very important. Whether it be basketball, volleyball, baseball, wherever, you have to have at least once or maybe twice a week where you working with a coach individually, because a coach cannot get to you if it's just team coaching. He cannot give you all of the tools that you need to get to the next level if it's just you and a team all the time. You have to have that specialized individualized coaching so you can get to that next level. And that's something that we were lacking back then.
That's very true, man. Yeah.
In our sports, that is fact.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Shoot, my man.
So the summer, how long did the summer league last?
That was like June through August. And the reason I remember it being in June is because some of the guys on our team was like, when I got there, they were still in the College World Series. So, and when the College World Series was over, they ended up coming to come play with us. So that's how I remember it was in June. And then we went to August, like beginning of August, like right before school started.
Okay. So piggybacking off of Tegan, so you started playing with better players, you have better coaches, you kind of you looked at them, you picked their brain, you work to help your game. Now going into the JUCO in New Mexico, how that experience was like playing summer league with those elite players help your game and your performance going into the JUCO in New Mexico?
I think it helped out my game. It helped me out in terms of confidence, because I felt like if I could hang with these dudes, like I started seeing that like my fastball was as fast as those guys that was at those big time schools, right? And I also was kind of hanging with them in terms of my pitching a little bit. I mean, didn't have as much control as they did, but that gave me confidence. So when I went to this JUCO, in my mind, I was like, ain't nothing these dudes could show me in this JUCO that I haven't seen, because I already played against guys that's Division I. So I already had that confidence. Not that I was so much better than those guys, because I wasn't, but I had the confidence that I could go down there and I gonna make this team. Because remember, at this time, I didn't have a scholarship. I was essentially a walk-on. And an interesting story about that JUCO is, I went there the first week of school. We had dorms. I don't know, most JUCOs don't have dorms, but we had dorms where all of the athletes stayed. And I was walking around and people was asking like, what sport do you play? I was like, baseball. Asking these people what sport they play, baseball, right? After about 80 people I run into, right? All of them saying they play baseball, right? You know, that's way too many people, right? Because they don't have that many people on a baseball team. So I start to realize that this coach tell all kind of people that they could come and they're gonna have a spot on the team. But when we show up to practice the first day, he was like, look, nobody ain't got no spot on this team. Everyone is trying out. So these people from all over the country, we had people from Canada, Mexico, New York, like everywhere coming out here to come play ball, thinking they all have a spot. I was like one of the only people that know I didn't have a spot because he told me, you know.
That coach is sick.
Yeah. So we all showing up, right? And the first day when I start pitching and I see how much faster I was trying to these dudes, because by that time I think I was 19, and I had been walking out all summer with these dudes that was from those big schools. So my fastball had get better. I was throwing 95 at that point. Once this dude showed me that gun and it was showing 95, I'm like, I don't get my spot. I have my spot, right? It don't matter what else I could do. That's all I needed to do. And I ended up getting a scholarship the next semester because of that. But a lot of people had get let down. Like they were just there at the school just for school and they didn't get to play because there's only like 30 spots on the team. So a lot of people get, you know, kind of get messed over.
Let me ask you, you said that you also worked on a few different pitches. What's all the pitches you developed in New Mexico that went along with your 95?
So a change up and a curve ball. And I mean, I had improved my curve ball. My change up is what I had added to the arsenal that I didn't really have before. And partly I had to learn the change up because I ended up getting hurt in New Mexico. So I was throwing 95. This is another thing that nobody ever told me back home, or if they did tell me, I wasn't listening. Like as a pitcher, you cannot try to throw hard every pitch. And that's all I did was try to throw as hard as I could every pitch because I was being looked at by a lot of major league teams. So I felt like every time I went to a game, a practice or whatever, I had to throw as hard as I could because I was standing to make a lot of money that year because I was going to be supposedly one of the top picks. But I ended up getting hurt. So I went from throwing 95 to between like 85 and 89 because I hurt my arm. So at that point, as Mumba, you know, 85 to 89 is not very fast. And you have to learn to develop something else because you cannot get the ball by any good hitters if you're only throwing 85 to 89. At 95, I was able to sneak the ball by people because I had a pretty fast fastball. So I had to learn how to throw something else other than the fastball.
Let me ask this because I'm a novice in terms of the pitches. Mumba, you is professional. So for the novice who watching, could you explain to the novice what was the two biggest difference between the changeup and the curveball? Because to my eyes, both of them kind of look the same.
So they are extremely. So they look the same in terms of a fastball and a changeup. A good pitcher will make it look the same in terms of the. It comes out your hand the same way, like the way the ball comes out your hand. But it slows down before it gets to the plate. So that if someone is thinking a fastball is going to come and you throw a changeup, they're going to be way ahead of it because they're anticipating the fastball is going to come a lot quicker. So that's the goal of the changeup, to mix it up a little bit.
And the curve is to make it look like it wanted to hit you?
Yeah. To have them looking silly. So yeah, that's really all I had at that time.
Yeah. So you mentioned also like a lot of scouts was and major league teams was actually watching you and scouting you. So you were trying to overthrow a lot. What were some of the teams that you were hearing through the grapevine that was watching you, and how did that? Yeah. How did that mess with your mind in terms of your preparation? You embraced it. You was like, damn, this is my opportunity now to show these dudes I ready to eat food.
I embraced it. I think I embraced it. I was ready to go to that next level. I was already in my mind. This is a big mistake that I recommend that nobody ever do. In my mind, I was thinking about all the things I was going to buy. I was going to buy my parents pay my parents' house off, buy cars, and all these other silly stuff that never came true. But so I think in that regard, I wasn't as focused as I could be because I was thinking about all the other things I was going to buy because I was supposed to get all this money. But nevertheless, in terms of on the field, I don't feel like it really affected me because I just kind of approached the game the same way. Like I always felt like I could beat any hitter that was up there. But in terms of the teams that I heard about, well, I didn't necessarily not hear. I actually spoke to the teams. It was the Kansas City Royals and the Cincinnati Reds. They even like took me out to dinner to kind of like talk to me about, you know, what my thoughts are about going professional. And they had me take all kind of tests. I don't know if you take these tests before, Moma, but they had me taking some like personality tests because they want to see if you're like, if you're stupid or if you know, if you, yeah.
Nice too, yeah.
So I mean, it was like 100-question test and I had to take them for both teams, like, you know. So I ended up doing that, and they used to call me on a regular basis to kind of like get updates on me and just see where my head was at. You know, I remember like when we went to dinner, they asked me, they were like, so like, this is the time when not Greg Mallis, what's his name? Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones was still in the league on the Braves. And they were like, if you were to go to the league today, would you be able to strike out Chipper Jones? And in my mind, you know, I said the wrong answer, but in my mind, I was like, no, I can't strike out Chipper Jones. He's like one of the best hitters in the world. And they tell me like that was the wrong answer. But you know, I obviously have some sense that a 19-year-old kid that barely, you know, playing in JUCO can't really strike out, you know, Chipper Jones, one of the best hitters. But anyways, that was the two teams that I ended up talking to. And there were other teams as well that would give me their cards and other schools that would send me all kind of letters trying to get me to come to their school the next year. But those were the two teams, but it ended up not working out because I got hurt. They were going to the Reds, even on draft day. On draft day, the Reds called me and they were like, look, we know something is wrong with you, like because you went from throwing 95 and you like barely getting up to 89 now. But I wasn't telling anybody that was hurt. I was just playing through it because in my mind, I'm thinking about all this money that will help me and my family and all these other things. So I was like, I have to keep this a secret. But obviously anybody with two eyes could see that something was wrong. So they told me that they were just going to give me $2,000 and obviously a plane ticket, and that was it. And I was like, look, I'm 19 years old. I could go back to school. I could get drafted again. And then they called me back and they were like, okay, if you care about school, we'll pay for your school if you get released. But in my mind, I was like, look, my arm is going to get better and I can get drafted again. So I told him, don't even bother. Don't even worry about drafting me. Don't waste your pick. You know, which in hindsight might have been a mistake. But I told him, you know, I was good. I'm going to go back to school. So that's what happened with that.
So you had some serious adversity to deal with. So here's my question of the night.
Yeah.
How did you end up to be Mumba's roommate?
Wait, Tiga, before we get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because Langolo got a question. Okay, so we get to Langolo question and then we go to your question. Langolo asks, you mentioned you played 3 sports. Was there anyone you was influential in your life that say, hey, Jahsan, I think you should leave basketball and focus on baseball?
Nah, ain't nobody ever tell me that. Like, my biggest supporter was my father. Like, they don't matter how garbage I was in any sport, he would always tell me, like, nobody better than you. Like, he would be my like number one fan. Like to this day, you know, he would just be in my corner, like, you got this. So, but I would say that the deciding factor for me in realizing that basketball was not in my future was when I went to St. Croix and play against Complex and Central, because they was on a whole nother level. And I was like, this ain't for me. I mean, I was dunking left and right and pressing us the whole game. And I was just like, this is crazy. so it wasn't for me. It wasn't. I mean, I was good enough to be on the team because I was athletic, but I was not a starter on the team. I was like a 6th man, you know. But that let me realize that basketball was not in my future.
So, that's funny.
Yeah. You made a good choice.
See, but if I had that individualized coaching, I would have been destroying them, man. See, that's why I went wrong.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. I like to hear that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
we get to the question now, so like, he actually like how you end up, my
How
roommate.
you guys end up to be roommate? Tell us the journey.
So keep in mind, I as I mentioned earlier, me and Mumba keep running into each other senior year. Volleyball, basketball, and baseball, right? So I go off to college, went to Houston Tillerton for the 1 year, went to New Mexico Junior College. I'm getting recruited by a lot of different schools. And one of those schools happened to be Bethune-Cookman. And in my mind, I wasn't even going to go to Bethune-Cookman, but I was like, I want a trip to Florida. Who don't want to go to Florida to have a good time? So I went to Florida, and then I get there, and the coach is like, you know what? We have another guy from the Virgin Islands too. And I was like, who is this? And then sure enough, we go to the airport or wherever we went to go pick up Mumba. I was like, this dude again? And I was like, I cannot get rid of this dude. I was like, he's going to be a basketball player. So we end up, being on a recruiting trip together at Bethune-Cookman, going to the parties, learning about, the school and everything that they were willing to offer us and all that stuff. And then I remember Mumba ended up signing with Bethune-Cookman right then and then. I remember them telling me, because they were asking me, like, are you going to sign? Because they tried to, when they get on a recruiting trip, they're trying to get you to sign right there so no other schools could get you. And I was like, nah, I'm not signing. And they were like, because I had other opportunities. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not signing. They were like, well, Mumba just signed. I was like, okay, that's good for Mumba. But I'm not signing.
Hey, let me ask you one thing real quickly.
Go ahead.
On that trip, right? Were you still hurt? Are you still recovered?
At that time, I was not hurt. No, I was still trying 95, I was going to get drafted. So these are the things that's in my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to Bethune-Cookman. I'm like, I might not even be going to college next year. So these are the things in my head. And plus, I really wanted to go to University of Texas because I had liked Austin besides the part where we was at in school. I had liked Austin, so I really was holding out for University of Texas. And I had already got offered a full scholarship to Louisiana Tech University with they were going to give me $1,200 a month for rent and all kinds of stuff. And I told them I wasn't going to sign. And this was before Bethune-Cookman. And I was like, so when I got there, I was like, I didn't tell them I was holding out for another school, but I was like, I don't want to sign right now. Let me go through the season and see how things go. Obviously, I went through the season, I got hurt. So Louisiana Tech fell away. They used to call me like all the time. They were calling me like every week. As soon as they knew that I got hurt, them calls were not coming no more. Yeah. I even tried to call them, like, hey, what's up? And they were like, look, we're taking the scholarship out of the table. And the only one, and I really appreciate it because otherwise I don't know where I would have went. Bethune-Cookman still wanted me, regardless. And I really appreciate that. And I had a good experience at Bethune-Cookman, but like they were the only school that had really stuck by my side, regardless of me being injured or not.
I was gonna say to you again, when they told Jahsan that I signed, I didn't sign. So
for real?
I didn't. I signed in August.
Okay.
And I'll get to that when I do mine, but there's a reason why that happened, why I signed at that time. But I didn't sign. So they was trying to catch you with the okie doke. Yeah, that's crazy.
If you are signed, Jahsan, then tell Mumba you sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah, So you got Mumba can't tell his side, but you guys meet up. How was that like now? You guys are teammates. How was the training? How was the different atmosphere? Now you're Division 1. Take us to that journey.
I think the atmosphere, it was good. It was an HBCU. This HBCU was a lot different than Houston Tillerton.
Yes, it is. You did the right place.
Yeah, true.
So this was we had a football team and a band, and so you kind of get used to all the different things that come along with the HBCUs, the fraternities, all these little different things that that kind of make up the HBCU life. And then the fact that it was Division 1 and seeing the schedule of the teams that we were going to be playing was really exciting. And then what made it also good was that I had somebody that I could relate to. So like, I'm from the VI, Mumba from the VI. We had that connection in terms of the same culture. We got the same kind of mindset. So it was cool having him as a roommate, especially because we always used to bump heads with some of our roommates from the States. So it was good to have that backup. I know he remember all them times of getting into arguments with these dudes and, them eating up all the food that they ain't buy and not paying rent and, all kinds of stuff. So it was cool to have somebody that was from your same area, because you can relate to that. And like we used to hang out all the time, going to the clubs, and I think when we used to go out all the time, right? Like we had a sign on our foreheads that say "Fight me," because I know you remember that everywhere we went, he was always getting in fights. He was always getting in fights. Like like every night.
Oh my God, that's why I'm laughing, man, because it was crazy, Tegan. It was crazy. Man. Listen, this man and our roommate John Gregg. By the way, John Gregg was a hell of a baseball player.
Yeah,
right. He used to stutter, but Tegan, Jahsan, and this man used to look to fight like almost every day.
Because he's stuttering?
No. He was like
he couldn't get the word.
No, man, no.
He
was just different, man. He was just different. He
was a really good baseball player. Like, he was like, from my opinion, he was the best player on our team.
He was
by far the best player on our team. So he had that kind of mindset, right? He had that mindset, like I'm the best, and that's what it is. So he was really like
cocky. He was super cocky.
It was too cocky. It was too overbearing.
Yeah. And
I didn't like that. So me and him used to get into it all the time, like all the time, like every night, like so much to the point that he ended up moving out. Yeah. I think the last straw of him moving out was not me though. It was when him and Mumba get into it. If I remember correctly, when he moved out, you're like, all right, I gotta get out of
here. What position did he have to Mumba?
What position?
What position did he play?
He was a center fielder and he was a pitcher. He was our best hitter, our best outfielder, and our best pitcher that year. He was amazing. Yeah. No lie, man. He was good.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was like 5'9"?
Yeah, he was short. He was legit though.
But hell of a player, man, Tegan. He was a hell of a ball. He was good, man.
As much as you like, a lot of the guys on our team did not like this dude.
Yeah.
But you couldn't help but like him on the field because you have to have this dude in the game. You have to. When he go on the mound, we were winning.
Yes.
When he get up the bat, this dude was so good, but he was outside of the game. He was like a terrible person. We cool now.
Yeah,
at the time, we all old now. We, them days over. At the time, it was like fight every night, and I was like the type of person that I would never let anything go. Like I would just go on and on and on. I would just be on his ass all the time, because I was like, well, I ain't better than this dude, but I gonna destroy him at the house. So I was just like, that was the type of person I was at the time.
Yeah. Hey, don't talk about we going to the club. We almost getting fight. We getting a fight in Orlando, but in the club in Orlando. But every time we went to the club, Tegan, it was like, man, we almost getting fight left and right, brother. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what come out in Bethune. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And he ain't in Orlando yet.
I think the last one was the Orlando fight. That was
the last one. The Orlando fight. That one was crazy. But we have a question here. Why didn't you pledge a fraternity? And that's a good question because I remember you was interested.
Yeah, I was interested in doing it. When I was at Houston Tillerton, I really wanted to join a fraternity, but obviously I left there because back then, I don't know how it is now, but you couldn't join a fraternity when you was a freshman. So I had to come back for sophomore year to pledge for a fraternity, but I went to junior college. Obviously, junior colleges don't have fraternities. So by the time I got to Bethune-Cookman, like the training that we did and all the practicing that we did, like there was no time for no pledging, no fraternities. Like it was just like, it was school You get done with school at like 2, 3 o'clock. I can't remember what time it was, and then you go to practice and you have practice for like hours. So by the time you get done, you ain't got no time for doing a fraternity. The only thing I had time for was going out to the club and fighting. So
which fraternity you was interested in? That was
I wanted to do Alpha Phi Alpha because my uncle is an Alpha. So it was kind of like it was an unwritten rule for me to like go down that path as well because he was an Alpha. But I just didn't have time, and I kind of regret not doing that because I feel like those guys have kind of like lifelong bonds, kind of like we have like with baseball. They have the same thing with those fraternities as well. So I kind of wish that I did do that, but I just didn't have the time to do it.
That's a great question.
I didn't want to make the time to do it, I guess, is a better thing to say.
So let me ask you now you are Bethune Cookman and now you're there with Mumba. Did any obviously major leagues did come around. Who was after you? How was your stats? How were you playing at Bethune?
At Bethune Cookman, so what was a big change is when I first got there, I mean, like I was a relief pitcher. And I had never been a relief pitcher my entire life. And I got there and I wasn't good enough at the time to be a starter. So I had to come off the bench. Like I used to come off the bench for Mumba. And so that was a big challenge for me because I was like, man, I didn't feel good about coming out the bench because I never come out the bench. But eventually I just come to grips with it and make sure that I fulfill my role as a relief pitcher and eventually work my way into being a starter. But so that's kind of how I deal with that. And I actually remember one time, like it was either my first or second game, coming in the game for Mumba. Mumba was winning the game. I think it was FAU, Florida Atlantic University. That might have been one of your first games.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah,
I come in the game, right, and never played Division I baseball before. I never realized how much of hecklers the fans are. Like these fans is ruthless. I mean, they calling you all kinds of things. And I just remember getting on the mound, right? And I was confident I got in there, right? And the first thing I heard somebody say, "Come on, Page, blow the game for your boy Mumba." I shouldn't be hearing these things, right? But that's the one thing that I heard, right?
Yeah.
The next pitch of my hand, right, is a 500-foot home run.
Oh, Lord.
And that was the end of that game for me.
Oh, man.
He probably was. I don't know.
Tiga, you know what I equivalent to? Like if you guys was playing like say like a Florida State was ranked, because FAU was ranked at the time and it was one of the powerhouse in the state of Florida. So it's like, for us to beat that team or for us winning and I think it was like in the 7-8 inning during that time, so it was like a big game.
Yeah. JU was always ranked.
Yeah,
we played JU. We played JU.
I beat you up.
Nah, you guys beat us.
We was ranked. We was highly.
You guys
ranked.
had a good team.
Good team. Very good.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of major league teams just come into those guys' practices a lot.
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah. We played JU our senior year because I was like, man, I would have liked to play you guys when you was at the school, but it was our senior year. You already had left, so.
Yeah.
That was interesting too. Is the dude that hit the home run off of me was one of the guys that was on the team with me in Maryland, the team that had all the Division I players. He was my teammate on that team. So I was like,
he was a lefty, right?
I can't remember if he was a lefty or righty, but he was a tall dude.
Yeah, I think it was a lefty. He ended up playing for the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh,
I knew you. I knew you were talking about.
Wow. So your first pitch is a home run. How did you settle down after that?
Yeah. It didn't feel good.
You work your way up until you become a starter. So you obviously have to put in a lot of work to get that type of recognition that they elevated you.
Yeah, I had to start working on my control because at the time, again, my whole life I had just been wild. I could throw hard, but I just didn't really have good control. So I started working, and I used to work with Mumba a lot, like because we were both pitchers. We had to like run together, throw together, all kinds of stuff. So we'd be working on different pitches, and we'll be working on what we call like flat ground, where we basically throw like half the distance of the mound. And if you can throw with control half the distance when you move back, it's going to be a lot easier. So I started working on that kind of stuff really hard and got my control together so that when I was going into games, that I would go in and do my job. And eventually the coaches started seeing that that I was getting better and actually moved me to the starting position. Because basically some of the starters stopped playing good. They weren't pitching as good. So once they gave me the opportunity, that was it. All I was looking for was the opportunity to start. And after that, I never went to relief pitch again.
Wow.
Tegan, we got 2 viewer questions, Tegan. So
Go ahead.
Langolo asks, so what happened to Mumba when you starting? I was just a starter, so if Jahsan start, I wasn't scheduled to pitch that day. I was just a starter, that's it.
Yeah, so we had like a rotation of 4 pitchers because as a starting pitcher, you can only pitch like once a week. So you basically rotate every 4 games. So Mumba was at the time he might have been, I don't know if you were number 1 or 2.
I was number 1, but in reality, John. Well, I was the number 1, but John was the best pitcher that year. And John, since he was a position player, he would always pitch the Sunday game or like the last game of a series because he was a position player.
Yeah.
So that's why. But he was the true number 1. He was the best pitcher. So
yeah. So we had 4. It was like Mumba, John. I don't remember who was the third one, and then it was me. I don't even remember who the third person was.
It was Jason Leone.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
but he ended up getting hurt, and he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah. So we would just rotate every 4 games. So that's how that worked.
And then we have another question here. What would you do different if you could do it all over again?
I think that I would practice more. Like I felt like those people that went on to higher levels than I did, they had a little bit more dedication to the game than I did. Like my mind, and maybe Mumba can attest to this, I always wanted to go out and party. That's like all I really cared about. Like I like playing the game, but like I even remember the point when I used to be like, Mumba, you want to go? You're like, nah, I good. Like, because that's all I wanted to do was go out and have fun instead of focusing on what really mattered, which was school and the game. I think if I would have done a little bit more focusing on the game, things would have turned out a little bit different for me. And not only the game, but like something you mentioned, Tegan, is like really taking care of your body. Like I hated doing all that running and all that stuff. I just want to play the game. I don't want to do all this extra stuff. But that also could be because of the fact that how I grew up. Like back home, we didn't really do all this training. So while I did do some of the training in college, it wasn't really ingrained in me from the time I was young. So those were not the things that I really focused on. I only focused on getting my game better on the field, but not so much off the field.
Well said, and that's a good message for the youth who will see this podcast and understand those extra work do help. Trust me, it helps. I remember I tell you, I went to college, I was only 160, 65 pounds. And guys, even though I was super fast, guys could have still controlled me. Back then we had hand check. Man, they used to just push me around and ball bouncing off my foot and I looking silly out there, man. I say, no, sir. I'm going to jump in the way for these dudes. They ain't gonna push me around. You know what I'm saying? But it helps. It helps. It really do.
Yeah, you come back bigger too.
Yeah, man. I will live in night. We have to live early in the morning before you do anything. And then in the night after study out, I did 1 more round. So I used to double up. I was just determined, man. I was like, dude, you ain't gonna be pushing me around like that all the time. Yeah. Next year I came back diesel. It was over. But it helps, man. That after coach stuff really, really helps. And that's one of the things that in all the sport in the Virgin Islands, we don't really see. We just want to play. But man, if you don't get into that after coach stuff and doing it the right way to prepare, you know, like one of the greatest coaches I always say, winning is not the hardest, it's preparing how to win. Yeah. That's the hardest thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, how was your junior season at Betu Coleman? How did the season finish up?
I think I don't really remember my record, but I felt like it was successful because I ended up moving to the starting position and I kept that starting position for the remainder of the season. And then one thing that was cool is that Both Mumba and me had get selected to go play in a really good summer collegiate baseball league. I don't remember the name of the team because unfortunately, because my mind wasn't really on the game, I made a stupid decision and did not go. I chose not to go with Mumba to that team. I made a stupid decision to just stay back and chill in Daytona because I was just like, I think it was a girl or something. I don't really remember. It was a stupid decision. So again, something else that took me away from the game.
It was the summer league was in North Carolina. The team was Gastonia Grizzlies.
Yeah,
I think that was the name. Yeah,
and to be in those leagues, right, you have to have a really good season or be really good to go in those leagues because there's some of the top Division I players that are going to these leagues. So it would have been a good look for me to go to that, so that scouts would have seen me play as well. But I chose not to.
That would have been a great opportunity. Then Mumba tried to hit you upside the head and say, "Let me go."
Okay, he probably did. But you know, when you're young, you do stupid stuff.
Hey, during them times, Jahsan was a rebel. Jahsan ain't listening. Yeah. And that summer league was, I want to say it was the second best summer league in the whole country. I try to remember that popular summer league, man. Is up in Boston or somewhere.
We talking about Cape Cod. Cape Cod was number one.
Yeah, Cape Cod is number one, and then that one was like the second best.
Yeah,
but yeah, Jahsan ain't listening.
I wasn't listening to nobody at all. Like, so
opportunities there, boy. Woo.
Yeah. So, but I ended up having more opportunities after that. But that was a big misstep, and that's one thing that I would say to some kids like you got to stay focused on the goal at hand, the task at hand. If your goal is to be a professional athlete, you need to be doing everything that's going to get you to that level. Like everything else is just noise. You gotta leave them things alone, and that's something that I had a hard time with at that particular time.
That's facts. Well, you just gave me a nugget. You said you had a lot more opportunities. Could you share on some of those?
Yeah. So I ended up, obviously playing my senior year in Bethune-Cookman. I had a really good year.
Great year, I think.
Yeah, I had a really good year. That ended up, my last game was against Oklahoma State University in regionals. Regionals is kind of like the equivalent of like March Madness for basketball.
Yeah, regionals is equivalent to, I'll say, Tegan, Sweet 16. Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sweet 16.
Yeah, I know it is. Then you go to the World Series, right? College World Series.
You got from the regionals, you go to Super Regionals and then the College World Series. Yeah. So it's equivalent to that, yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up playing against them and I had a really good game. We ended up losing the game 4-1, but the score don't really like reflect how the game went. So in the first inning, I think I had a bad inning. I might have walked some people or something like that. And I threw like a curveball that hung, which is basically a curveball that's like really high up in the face, and it's really easy to hit out the park. And I did that, and the dude hit a home run like dead center field, and that made them go up 3-0. But that was the first inning. The rest of the game, I pitched like 6 or 7 more innings. They didn't score any runs.
Yeah,
anyways, after that like kind of wake me up, and I shut them down for the rest of the game. And then but we just couldn't get any runs. We just couldn't get any runs on the board. I think like I said, we ended up losing 4-1. But that fourth run, I don't think I give up that run. I think I get kicked out the game by that time. But that was like even though I lost that game, that was like a big deal for me because that school was ranked, and it kind of let me know that I had what it took to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So,
he pitched. I think it was his best game he pitched in his college career. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. Honestly, he was on his A game. Like I was watching the game and I was like, man, this man is dealing. Yeah. They had a catch.
Because you probably had done graduate from Bethune.
No, I pitched the game before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll get into that game with my talk.
Yeah, because I know you're older than him, and that was his senior year, right?
Yeah. Well, see, I'm older than him, but I got left back because I was a bad kid growing up. So I stay back.
We meet up in the same
Yeah, so we end up
same class.
Yeah.
So our sophomore together, no juniors together. Some
Yeah,
juniors.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But he pitched an amazing game, man. Oklahoma State, they was number 2 in the there was this second ranked team in the regional because Florida State was I think Florida State was like a top 5 team that year. I think Oklahoma State was maybe a top 15, top 12 team in the nation. They had a catcher. He was like a first rounder. They had they had a third baseman too. He was a quarterback for Oklahoma State, and he was a third baseman, and he was a first round pick too. So they had some studs on their team, Tegan. And this man, besides the first inning, he dealt. It was amazing. It was one of the best pitching performances for the school in the 2 years that we've been there. His performance against Oklahoma State, just because of the magnitude of the game. You know, Tegan, it's regionals, one top of the line team, so it was amazing.
Normally best out of 3, right? It was normally best out of 3.
Not double elimination because you have 4 teams, so it's a double elimination.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So
coming out of that game, like I said, that was a good game. Coming out of that game, in my mind, I was like, I definitely getting drafted, right?
I said the same thing too in my mind.
Definitely, right? Draft day come. Day 1, nobody called. Day 2, nobody called. And I was like, what going on? Nobody didn't call me. So I never end up getting drafted. So remember, in junior college, I was gonna get drafted. I turned it down. I told him, don't draft me, because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm gonna have more opportunities. I got 2 more opportunities. So obviously, them 2 more opportunities never came. Junior year never happened. Senior year never happened. But I didn't let that keep me down. I kept trying to play. So what happened was I went home because I was done with college. I only went to school to play baseball. At the time, as I mentioned, I only cared about partying and playing ball. I didn't go to school to go to school. I mean, I wanted to do one thing. So, I mean, Mumba, you probably remember when I think I was like a computer science major, and I was like, this ain't working. I started asking everybody on the team, like, what major is the easiest so I could play? I asked everybody. I was like, what? So I was like, so what kind of workout I had to do? Like, so like I end up in like elementary education because my mindset was like, look, I passed elementary school. I could do this. So I was like, so anyways, I dropped out of Bethune-Cookman. I went home because I was like, I'm done with school. If I ain't playing baseball, I don't care about school. So I went home and I ended up playing in a league, the man league back home, and meet this Dominican dude. And he was telling me that he have some hookups in the Dominican Republic with the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim Angels, whatever they call themselves now. And I was like, yeah, I will go. I will go over there to the Dominican Republic to try and make my name for myself to get called up to the States to play. So I went over to the DR for 2 months, living at the baseball field, right? That's how it is. So every team over there has a facility. They call them academies. So the Angels have an academy. The Orioles, everybody have an academy over there. So they train all the young Dominicans how to get better. So I went over there and we living on the field. Above the dugout is a big old, like not a big dome, but it's maybe the size of a classroom. And they have like bunk beds everywhere. So it's like 40 of us sleeping on bunk beds in this dome above the field. And all we do every day is wake up and play ball and train. That's all they focus on. And this is me and like I said, like 39 other people. And some of those guys went on to go play in the major leagues. Some of them was already in AAA, but when they come home, they live at those facilities and that's where they train. And this facility is not nice. It didn't have hot water. So for 2 months, I was just taking cold showers, and the showers ain't on the doors, the toilets ain't on the doors. Wow. It's just like living in the slums. But to those guys, that don't mean nothing because a lot of them guys are already living like that. Yeah. And ultimately, this is an opportunity for them. This is their way out. A lot of those guys. So when they turn like 14 and 15 over there, they get signed by those teams, and that's where they live and they play until they get called up to go to minor leagues with like people like Mumbai. You probably play with a lot of guys that had. I
was going to ask you about this question because I noticed something strange with Major League. they sign a lot of high school and kids from foreign countries. They don't go in the draft.
High school, yes, but the people from the foreign countries, they don't go in the draft. They get signed as free agents.
Free agents.
So who? I don't even know how to word this. Who has the numbers in terms of the free agents or the draft? Who get most of the numbers? Meaning, say 100 players is in the States and they only can draft 100 because of the cap. They can sign as many free agents as they want to. How does that work?
Yeah, they could they could sign as many free agents that they want to. You know, I mean, I don't even know how long the major league draft is now. I know they kind of change it up a couple of times. But you know, mostly each team have a round, and usually when I remember, so back in the early 2000s, I think it was like 50 rounds. I want to say 48 rounds or something like that, and each team would have to draft a player each round, you know, and then you still have free agents you could sign because a team could sign any free agent. They could just see this kid and be like, "Whoa," you know, and then they just sign him.
I asked that question to like, why would I want to go in the draft? I would have probably just see if I can get with one of these scouts and get a tryout and sign as a free agent and be whatever team you want to be with.
True, that's very true.
But with baseball, it's a little bit different than like other sports. You don't enter the draft in baseball. They don't just draft you. They've been watching this entire time and they don't just pick you.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You don't put your name in the hat. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they just draft you. Yeah.
And that's only for the U.S. players. Then.
Yeah, U.S. players only because you're drafted. You know, U.S. players, including Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in terms of baseball, it's better to be a Santo.
Yeah.
Real time.
Yeah. No, it's true because you know it's a good question you asked Tiga because and just kind of pointing it a little bit. If you're not a top 5 to 10 rounds, it's better to sign as a free agent.
Yeah.
As far as money wise, signing bonus, you know, because what happens is you like as a free agent, you're free to sign with anybody. So if you talented, like for instance, Jahsan was showing 95 miles an hour. If you say, you know what, I want to sign as a free agent, if multiple teams is interested in him, then he could really negotiate and stuff like that. So you could kind of help yourself, you know.
That would be my next question because I know the signing bonus most of the time, if you're not in the majors, that's where you get most of your money.
Yeah.
After you go to these A's and triple A's or whatever, they don't really make that much money. So it's the bonus you get the money.
Yeah. As a free agent, it's better because when you get drafted, Tegan, and you sign a baseball contract, you get your bonus, but then you're under the salary cap for the season. So like you're gonna be whatever they pay in single A, double A, triple A, that's what you're gonna make, no matter if you was a first rounder or a 50 rounder. But as a free agent now, when you sign, you can negotiate your monthly contract. So you can actually make more than the person who got drafted.
You guys dropping dimes, man. I need to be an agent in baseball.
No, it's true, And I never knew this until I actually got in this system. And then I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, so. And then college players, I want to say when you get drafted, you're under contract for 7 years or 6 years. And high school players, I think you're under contract for 5 years or 6 years. High school, you get 5 years, and I think college you get like 6 years. So it's like,
A free agent, you can negotiate 1 or 2 years, right?
Yeah, you just negotiate your contract. Yeah, wherever your contract is, you negotiate it and you good. So that's what
we're gonna talk about this agency later when we have a economics forum.
Yeah. So they got 2 viewer questions, Tegan. I'm gonna touch on it. First question was, did you end up getting your degree? And if you get your degree, did you get your degree in?
Yeah, so I ended up going back to get my degree after I joined the military. So that's like after the baseball career was done. Like the only reason I joined the military is because I wanted to finish where I started, because I started to realize that like, look, this baseball thing is not happening. So I need to figure something else out. And I realized that, school was where it's at. So I went back and finished my senior year. I ended up getting my first degree in psychology. And then I went on to get 2 more degrees one in business, and then a master's in business. So,
Oh, man.
yeah.
Awesome, brother.
Nice.
I am super proud of you. Super proud.
We got another question. Do you believe that our young VI athletes need better mentors to guide them while in college? That's a pretty good question.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know what's going on nowadays. Like, I feel like they have access to the mentors. Look at you guys. There's you guys, all the people that have been on this program. Like, I am sure they are willing to mentor people. They just have to, somebody has to reach out to you so that you can do that. But yes, I think having a mentor is crucial, because maybe if I had a mentor and some of our other people that have went to college and beyond had mentors that could have guided them throughout that process, they may not have made the mistakes they made along the way. So
that's true.
You know.
What about you? What about you, Tegan? What you think?
In terms of,
having a mentor. VIA athletes need better mentors to guide them while in college, because baseball and basketball is so drastically different in college. So I would like to hear your viewpoint on that as a basketball player.
Yeah, like what Jahsan said. I mean, it don't hurt. And I had mentors. Definitely Coach Haywood and even CB from St. Thomas. I always have somebody you can lean on and talk to, especially when you're down, because normally when you're down is when you do the dumbest things. So it doesn't hurt at all. But in terms of like what he said, we do have a lot of people here willing and able to do a lot of things. The problem is we don't get the support that we need, in order to perform that mission, to continue changing lives. One of the worst things in the Virgin Islands is the sports is always been taken like a babysitting thing, in terms of we can change lives and create future Virgin Island athletes, and not only that, better, respectable people in general, because sports help that in terms of teamwork, discipline. Even when you fall, you learn faster because you gotta pick yourself up and keep going. But for some reason, even to this day, and and I'm older than you guys, and I still see it, we are separated in terms of sports. So until we get that respect in terms of dealing with sports, funding sports the way it should be funded, respecting the leaders and the mentors who are putting themselves on the line to help raise somebody else's child, I mean, we're not going to see much pushing the needle. You know what I'm saying? But
that's true.
I mean, look at what's going on right now in the entire Virgin Islands with all the gunplay. You know what I'm saying? When we were growing up, they had shooting and stuff like that, but we had people in the community that we look up to who was doing things, but they won't let us get into those type of areas and stuff like that. They will look out for us. Hey, he's an athlete. Hey, he goes to school, do something positive and stuff like that. And we look up to it. But now it's like free for all. We're leaving the kids them to define their history. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have our history, so they're going to create their own. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's true, T. And that's well said. That's true for real, my son. We have another viewer question from Sean Henry. How is the workload with playing and academic in college?
I would say it's extremely difficult. I feel like as an athlete, it's essentially like having a job and going to school at the same time, which is not an easy task, because you have to go to school, your 4 or 5 days a week. Then you have to go practice for hours. And then by the time you get home, you're already tired. You don't even want to do no schoolwork, And not only that, when the season starts, you are expected to travel hours away. Ain't like we didn't have no planes. We were never flying. We were going on bus everywhere. So you're on a bus for like 10, 12 hours. And all you want to do is sleep. You ain't want to do no schoolwork on the bus, or, it's very difficult to get the schoolwork done and play sports if you want to be good. If your goal is to be an elite athlete, it is very difficult to focus on school and be an elite athlete. Not saying it's impossible, it's just difficult. So that's my take on that.
Let me ask to Ayo, did Ayo ever had any tricks in terms of beating it? Because we went through it in terms of practicing, study how, individual workout and all these things, then the game, then like you said, the traveling. Did you have any tricks that you learned in terms of how to balance everything?
That's a good question, man. That's a very good question.
So let me give you my trick.
Yeah, go ahead.
My trick was I would take all my classes the earliest in the morning because basketball wise we had to get up at 4 o'clock anyway. So I was like, man, if I'm gonna get up at 4 o'clock to run, after we run we lift, so that would be around 6:30. We go and eat. I go take a shower. My first class will start about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm taking them back to back. 9, 10, 11 o'clock I done. And I take 4 classes a semester, and that's it. So I have the whole rest of the day. So if practice start around maybe 3, 4, maybe 5, I can sleep pretty much from around 12 all the way until 4. And that's why I kind of used to get my little recovery. And it worked for me.
Yeah.
Some people, they used to go home and sleep and then have to wake up at 1 and 2 o'clock to go class, then had to run from class to come to practice. You know, tired you would be listening to a teacher and have to run out there to go and practice. No,
yeah, that's true. You know what? Most of our classes was in the morning and it was pretty much stacked one after the other just because we used to live off campus.
Yeah.
So most of our classes were, and then baseball practice used to start at what time? I can't even remember. What, 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So, yeah, but
you basically have the same formula like me. Do it early in the morning, get away, then you're good to go.
Yeah, that was it. For me, it was just like, I just made sure I beat the class every day, and I used to try, and then the teachers used to pretty much just pass me.
Oh God! What a give it up for Batoon.
See, guys,
not a JU. Don't bring in JU.
No, one of the reasons why, because of my major. I don't really want to get into it because in my episode, that was one of the reasons because of my major, man. So when it's mine, I kind of touch on it a little bit, but
I had a different perspective because I was a computer science major, and it wasn't just passing you. It was like for me, what was really difficult about playing sports is like the teachers was not really teaching you. They were just like, did you read the book? This is what I need you to do. It was not like really, I was used to people like actually teaching me, like in high school. And they were like, I would ask a question like, hey, how do you do this? And he was like, did you even read the book? And I was like, what kind of stupid, are you asking me? Did I read the book? You're the teacher, like, explain it to me. And then I realized that computer science was not for me if I wanted to be a baseball player. And that's when I started polling the team and I was like, look, what's the easiest major? I just wanted to play ball. I don't care. So
computer science is a tough one. Just
yeah, that's true.
Especially if you coding and them things, all in coding and
and then and I was cutting into my partying time. My priorities at the time was partying. I don't have time to read this book.
What about every year? Black Beach, right?
BCR.
BCR. Yeah, you got that. Yeah,
but
BCR.
You know what? But our coach used to do it strategically. Like every year during BCR, we would be in away games. Nice. So we was never really there for BCR.
Yeah, we never. Yeah, we never experienced Black College reunion. So.
Stinking ass coach.
Yeah. No, for real, man. We never experienced it, man. That was the crazy thing, man. You know what was the good thing? Oh, go ahead, Jahsan.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just to say, what was the good thing about being at Bethune-Cookman and spring break is the fact that the whole March, like the whole about a month and a half, is different time of spring break for different colleges. So like the whole month and a half, people is coming to Daytona Beach. So it was crazy because remember we used to go running. We played at Jackie Robinson Baseball Stadium, and the beach was nearby. So when we go running, we could like make it to the beach. So it was like a sight to see, man. Us running and different people from up north, and you know what I'm saying, they want to wear the bikini and all kind of stuff, man. So it was fun.
Jacksonville was in the house. You ain't far from we at all.
Yeah, so that's true.
Pam them never used to miss. So he probably mad here and there. They show tonight. He never missed a reunion.
I did experience what after you get drafted, Bumba. I went back to Bethune-Cookman for the first semester of the 5th year. And
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
yeah, I went back for that one, and then I was like, I'm done with this. But that's when I went to my first BCR, and it was an experience, to say the least.
See, I never experienced it, man. So,
yeah.
Man, your story really moving me tonight, man. I feeling you. Nice story. You have a lot of adversities and everything in
yeah,
it, but
man.
you definitely overcome, man.
Yeah.
You have 3 degrees, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's awesome.
Thank
You
you.
ever thought about coming back home to the VI, just maybe in terms of sharing your story? I mean, now they have an opportunity to see it in live, which is great. This is why we always gotta give Mumba love. But it'll be nice sometimes you come back and people understand, yeah, he's from us, and look what you're doing now. And because it's always good to watch people on TV, but it's nothing more greater than to see and feel somebody in the flesh.
That's true.
And to this day, I always remember when I was a senior in complex, Timmy came home when he had first get drafted, and we met up at Galloway's, and he was signing all the autograph, and he spoke to us. Man, I felt super proud. You know what I'm saying? Because he was not like some kind of alien out of the sky. He was flesh and bones. You know what I'm saying? So don't forget home, man. Every once in a while, come home, you and Mumba, and definitely I'll pull you guys up to speak to these youths.
Yeah. I definitely would not be opposed to coming back home and doing that. I have never done it, but I would be willing to do it.
You heard me? I said especially about fighting in clubs.
Yeah, telling them to not fight and focus on the books and everything else.
That's true. We have a question here. Every time you competed, did you think you were only playing for your school but for the VI?
You know what? I think that I felt more like I was playing for my school. I don't think I went on the mound like this is for the VI. Just being honest, I never felt like that. But at the same time, when somebody asks me where I'm from, I say it loud and proud that I'm from the VI. That's the difference. But I never went with that mindset on, like this is for the VI every time I went out to play. That's just being honest.
Yeah.
We have another question here. Did you do full-time military or part-time? And what branch?
Yeah, I was active duty, which is full-time Air Force. I did that for about 8 years. And I was aircraft mechanic for the first half of my career. And then I did worked in a command center, which I basically answered phones all day and worked with the commanders and stuff like that. But another thing that happened in my military career, so I joined the military because I thought baseball was over. I was like, this is done. I ain't gonna be able to play no baseball anymore. Let me go to the military so I could finish up this school. I wasn't being taken serious before. I ended up going to Japan for 3 years. That's why I was stationed. And I found out that they had a baseball team on a base. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try to give this baseball team a go again. And I was playing against the local Japanese people over there, and things was looking really good. And I found out that they had a military all-star team. And I ended up trying out for that military all-star team and made it. And I played for that team for 2 years where I would travel around the country while I was in the military, playing against professional teams, college teams. And then you mentioned the Cape Cod earlier. I actually went up to the Cape Cod and played against their all-star team and actually beat them in that team. So that was like a good opportunity. So I was serving my country, but I still got to play the game I love and still have that feel like I was a professional athlete while I was in the military.
Wow. You said Air Force, right? Bogus?
Yeah, I was in the Air Force.
Do you know Bogus? He's probably my age, but he was actually stationed in Japan as well. He's in the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's on. Because he was in Japan for a lot of years. Did you guys see any Godzilla over there, or that's just a lie?
No, I ain't see no Godzilla. I ain't see no Godzilla at all. We was a Godzilla because everybody was short over there. There ain't no stereotype. Like everybody is tiny over there in Japan.
You see on the media the mess in our head. That's why I travel, because
look,
a lot of people who never traveled before believe they got Godzilla over there.
Oh,
That's
look,
crazy.
before I went to Japan around the time when Tokyo Drift was out. So I'm like, when I go to Japan, I'm like, oh, everybody gonna be drifting, right? I go to Japan, everybody driving slow, ain't nobody racing. The only people doing drifting is the Americans. So I stopped believing what I say on TV after that.
I'm telling you, the media can mess your mind up, Mr.
Hey,
You have
media
to,
listen.
you
Yeah,
have to see it for yourself, man. This is crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy. But man, I'm so happy to hear that experience.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How was like living over there?
It was cool, man. Like, you know, the one thing that I heard before I went to Japan is that the Japanese people do not like Americans, right? But that was not the experience that I had. When I went there, like everybody, it was all love. Like everywhere I went, people treated me nice. So maybe they treat a certain type of Americans a certain
Yeah.
way. But like when I went over there, it was all love. And like, I mean, the people were nice. I lived on so Okinawa is an island, it's just like St. Thomas, but it's just Japanese people. Like it's tropical all year round. So that was just like being home for me, except I couldn't speak the language. But like, I mean, the food were good. Like I said, everybody was nice. You know, on Christmas, you're on the beach just chilling. You know, it was. And then not only that, like everybody that was stationed in Japan, like that was in the military, it was like a family. You know, ain't like in the States when you are stationed in the military, when work is over, everybody goes their own separate ways. They ain't got time for like camaraderie. But like over in Japan, like because you're all that you have. All you have is the Americans that's on the base with you. So everybody comes together, all the families, everybody is just like it's just all love. You know, so that was my experience over there. And actually my daughter was born over there as well. So
Oh wow,
she always have that cool story to tell.
nice.
Let me ask you, do they speak English over there? I mean, because I tell people all the time, everywhere I went, speak English. I've never been to Japan.
Yeah, some of the people do speak English, but like, so the closer to the military bases that you are, the more the Japanese will speak English. But when you like start traveling out and venturing to other locations in Japan, like that are far from the bases, they don't really speak English. So you
So,
gotta figure out how to do it.
so I hope I said it's sensitive so we don't get blocked from YouTube. But I've been around a couple of Japanese and they speak pretty much like Horu, you know, that kind of way. When you over there and you hear these people talking like that, you ever hold
No,
about
I think on TV they like exaggerate it a little bit. Like, I mean,
oh,
it don't be that hard. Like, it don't be like in the movies, but you know, it does sound a little bit like that, but not. It don't be that extra. But one thing that they do is your first name they will call you like they will say Mumba-san. They do that for real. Like everywhere you go, like they know your first name. They'll be like Mumba-san, Jasan-san, Tigan-san. Like they everywhere. I don't know what san mean because I never took the time to learn the language, unfortunately. But that's what they do. Maybe it's a sign of respect. I really don't know, but that's just
that's
what they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
So yeah. But I love it over. If you ever have a chance to go to Okinawa, Japan, or anywhere in Japan, you gotta go because it's a beautiful place.
It's just I didn't get too much earthquake and tsunami, man. I'd be like, man.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
true,
mean,
man.
the typhoons that like we had typhoons over there. It's just a hurry. It's just like a hurricane. Ain't no different. You know.
Yeah.
Only 300 miles per hour difference.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you know, so you live in Salt Lake, right? So how it is? Well, I mean, Tina, have you been to Salt Lake before?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So well, I was just gonna ask how you know about Salt Lake, how you like living there.
It's definitely a cultural difference. I mean, like out here in Salt Lake, there's a lot of Mormons. Before I moved here, I didn't know what a Mormon was. You know, like, but now I know. But like, that religion is really big here in Utah. And I mean, like, even in the workplace, like when you go to work, like that religion is like really entrenched within the workplace. Like that, they don't. Obviously, they believe in God and Jesus and all that stuff. They consider some Christians, but they don't drink, they don't smoke, drink coffee, none of that stuff. So like when you're having conversations with some of the people, you kind of feel awkward, like if you're talking about like drinking or something like that. So you kind of feel like you have to leave those kinds of things outside of the workplace because they take their religion with them everywhere they go. Which I mean, I guess most Christians do that as well, but It just seems like it's on 100 here. But and then obviously mostly everybody here is white. Ain't that many black people. So like whenever you see somebody black, you'd be like, hey, what's up? Like you got to acknowledge each other. You know, you have to.
Is that a red state or a democratic state?
Nah, this ain't no democratic state at all.
Sure.
Yeah. You see all these Trump 2020 stuff around here, my neighbors, and but yeah, that's just the way it is.
That's the thing that freaked me out about this election stuff. They keep saying all of these things about Trump and blah 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 blah. Yes, he is. He earned all the names then.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of people in America still likes him, man. That means there's a lot of people in America think like him, and that's the issue people ain't focusing on.
You're right about that.
Lose. He's only one man, but what about the mindset of all of them millions of people who still follow him? And this thing is so freaky when I hear people talk. We need to get him out. We need to get him. It's okay, you're gonna get him out, but you gonna change nothing.
It really ain't.
You're gonna change nothing, man. That's true. It's true.
You still got damn near 200 million people still think like you. What are you changing?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
That's true.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's true. That's true.
So before we forget, well, I don't know what time you and Mumba talk about, but because we'll go forever. But I want to get a top 5 baseball, Major League top 5 for sure. I need to get that on the record. And
so
in Manly, St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, wherever you choose.
My memory is not that great, so I'm gonna have a hard time remember anybody from Manly. And then I am one of those people, and I think I remember Pang saying that as well, but I'm like one of them people that I play sports, but I don't really watch sports. Like I just don't like. I'm the type of sports fan that I just watch ESPN for the highlights. So if I have to name a top 5, they're gonna be tough. But I'm gonna give you my top 5: Pete Rose, Mark Maguire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, A-Rod. That's the top 5. That's the top 5 cheaters. Top 5 cheaters in the game. That's my top 5.
Oh man, that is funny. I love that one. That one good.
Yeah, none of them ain't making it to the Hall of Fame, brother.
No, not about they all should, but they ain't making it.
That's funny, Mr.
But look, if they were going to cheat, they gotta be the best at it. So that's my top 5.
I agree with you. And the fact that they got ostracized and blackballed, basically, they acting like they were the only ones who ever did it. But I remember the list when it came out. They say it's close to 150 something.
Yeah.
So that was only 5. So you still have a 145 still missing.
Yeah, there was so many of them. Like even when I was in the DR, I see so much stuff going on. Like, cause I don't know if I've ever been there, but like you could just go to the pharmacy and get whatever you want. You need no prescription.
Yeah, it's true.
So like over in the DR, it was really rampant. The steroids and stuff like that.
Yeah, they are on the black market.
I didn't take none. I probably should have took some. I would have been where they were at.
I had a couple of teammates that took some, and yeah, their game got elevated, man.
For sure.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
You see the real Sammy Sosa over there. Yeah.
No, I ain't never see over there, but I play with a couple dudes that was in the beach. Huh?
You couldn't recognize him. He was supposed to be a black man.
Yeah, I didn't see him. Yeah, look different.
Oh man.
Right. So your VI top 5, you can't pick me because we don't pick anybody on the panel. So
I have a hard time remembering people's names from back in the day, man. You say I can't pick you. I just gonna name the names that I remember. Saro, he was one of the. I ain't gonna name people from my era because I can't really talk about the people before me. I mean, obviously I know I heard Robbie Smiles was really good, obviously, and I heard his story, but I was too young to know his, to see him play. I will say of the people that Pickle, for sure. I will say Saro. Who else? Let me think. That is a really tough one. I say Richie. And I don't really remember his last name, but it was a dude that we used to play with. He didn't end up playing high school ball, but his name was Jello. And I can't remember his last name, but he was when we was in Little League and Senior League, that dude was a beast. Like he should have went on to be really, really, he should have went on to play like professional. Like he was really good, like just a natural hitter. Like, I mean, this dude used to drop bombs. And then the fifth one, let me think. Man, that is a tough one. I really can't. I can't think of a fifth one.
You got KLX, you got
KLX, yeah. I mean, the first home run hit off of me, yeah. He up there for real.
I was gonna say, how you remember that?
Yeah.
I tried to forget it. You know, that was yeah, he for sure up there. Yeah.
Like, don't mind me when you see me moving like this in my chair, you know, the back kind of acting up a little bit.
Yeah.
I know how it is, man. I went and you remember in the Robbie episode I was talking about, I want to try and make a comeback. I went and go play some slow pitch softball, right, and pull both my hamstrings 1 week after the other. I said it's time to retire.
You know, we feel that for you, me and Moba say together.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's rough.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Can't deal with that.
I just stick to coaching.
True.
Man, this was an amazing episode, man. Man, you went through a lot, man. Chasing your dream, you know, which is commendable, honestly, if you really think about it. You know, you made a lot of sacrifices, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. In my mind, I could swear I remember you when you smile. I don't know if it's you, but I remember you were a little thick with braids. You used to run around with pumpkin and check at them for real. Because they used to have a guy from St. Thomas coming around in the gym. I don't know if it's you.
It probably wasn't me. I had no braids back then.
It wasn't you.
It probably wasn't me.
Yeah, but you're right, because I am 4 years old and you, so pretty much when you probably were coming to St. Croix, I done gone.
Yeah, and I only really come over to St. Croix my senior year, so you were for sure already gone.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So
well, Randu, that might be a twin.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and I was a lot smaller.
Yeah, man. Big up to Bo for real though, man. He got you started, man. That's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Bro, I wouldn't have been going to college, man. I mean, I might have went college, but you know, telling what would have happened in terms of baseball, because I didn't know where I was going. You know, I only had one thing I forget. I only had one opportunity to go play baseball in the States after graduating. Some dude tell me that he could get me to a school in the States, but I have to go back to 12th grade. And I was like, nah. Nah. I ain't going back. I just graduated. You think I'm going back to 12th grade?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to school than to go back to 12th grade. No?
Yeah, I was like, what kind of nonsense is that? I ain't doing that.
That's true.
School.
Yeah.
Go back.
That's the last thing you're thinking about when you graduate high school is going back to 12th grade again.
Exactly. You know, doing all that again. So, but it was a good ride. I enjoyed chasing my dream, but eventually, you know, I had to end. That was the hardest part, was knowing when to give up. Like, that was a tough part, you know, but they had to end eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, don't feel like, you know, that you want a success, man, because you definitely a success in my eyes, and you took a long way to get there. But what the most impressive things you said tonight, you went back to school and you got your degree, and not only that, you want to get 2 others, man. It's big time. That's big time. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. Don't ever give up, son.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man, that's true, man. That's true. So, you know, before we close, Jahsan, is any shout outs you want to give? You know, anybody you want to see us you know, honor and celebrate on the podcast that we haven't yet?
Yeah, so I don't know if I reach out to him, but one person that I think would be good to talk to is Deshaun Brooks, because he actually made it to the Boston Red Sox organization.
Yeah.
I don't remember what level he made it to, but I think he would be a good one because he has a perspective that, you know, that would be a little bit different from mine, because he actually made it into the minor league system, whereas I only made it over in the Dominican Republic and in independent league for a little bit. But I think he would be a good one to talk to.
Yeah, we I contact Deshaun, so we're gonna get him on. It's just more scheduling, so we definitely gonna get Heavy D, definitely.
He was a beast. I mean, he was one of those guys that like he was like 2 years younger than us, but he was playing on the All-Star team with us. Like he was that good. So
yeah, so we definitely gonna have him on. Definitely gonna have him on. Any shout outs before we close out?
I guess I'll just shout out the whole of the VI, Rock City, St. Croix, St. John, everybody. I appreciate having me on here. Like I said, I am honored to be on here and being able to tell my story. Hopefully it can help someone younger than me, in high school or elementary, junior high to make the right decisions when they get those opportunities in front of them. Because, you've got to make the right choices if you're expecting to make it to that next level. So hopefully some of the things that I have said have been helpful.
It's big time, man.
Yeah. Big time, man.
A pleasure for me, man. I mean, like I said, Mumbai is get me into this baseball thing, so it's just interesting to me right now. It looked like I should have probably pick up a bat and try a little thing, but too late.
With that back, you might now want to do that.
Yeah, too late, but man, like I said, man, your success in my eyes, and it's a pleasure and a joy. And anytime you home, hit me up anytime.
All right.
Yeah,
for sure,
man. Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. I think one thing we could take from it, is that you just never give up on your dream, man. You just never give up on your dream. That's something you did. So I that's why I have so much respect for you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Like I said, I appreciate it. I can't wait to see your episode, Mumba, and relive some of them stories that we experienced together.
Oh man, yeah, man, for sure.
No, I really can't wait for your episode, Mumba. Jesus, when is that, Sunday?
No, that's November the 15th. November the 15th is mine. We have Karen Carty coming up, Sunday. So that's definitely gonna be one.
That's good. Karen, good drop some knowledge, man.
Yeah, she's gonna drop some knowledge, and then we got Rudolph Simmons following the following Sunday after that, and then so
okay.
And I see we have Andre here. I got to get Andre and the schedule so we could interview, celebrate Andre as well. Yeah, man. But it's been a pleasure, man. It was fun, man. I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate everybody tuning in and viewing it. I appreciate you guys supporting Jahsan. I was supporting the Elite Podcast as well. I appreciate you guys engaging and asking the questions. Much love to everybody. I appreciate you guys.
For sure, man. So, man.
Oh, you know what? One more thing. I forget to shout out my mother and father, Anthony Page and Tasca Page. I wouldn't be here without them. So I definitely gotta give them a shout out.
That's big time.
Big. You better shout them out for sure.
Or else I can't come home.
Yeah, man. So, Lot of Mercy, the People's Choice, The Voice.
So another one is in the book. You don't know, great job by Jahsan. Man, really enjoy this one tonight. We had a late start, but we definitely enjoy it. And keep doing what you're doing. We are proud of you and your VI true and true. For everybody else, thank you guys for joining us. Beating Pang will hopefully be here on Sunday. Karen, our favorite girl, administrator, she will be here dropping some knowledge for some of you guys who are looking for this college information. So until next time, see you guys on Sunday.